morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to take a look at, well, some lovely new cards from OP-08. We've got some more super rares we haven't looked at yet. We need to have a little bit of a look at. OP-08 is shaping up to be a very, very nice set in terms of playability. It's shaping up to be a very cool set indeed. So we need to have a look. And let's start off with Jewelry Bonney. Now, I know OP-07 was the whole Egghead Island set that brought in a bunch of cards with that artwork and all of that. Well, we've clearly got an Egghead Island Jewelry Bonney. I mean, also, it's Bonney Pirates, and it's literally an Egghead card. So that should tell you what you need to know there. But for anyone that's, reading the manga at the moment and up to date, this is just exactly where we are, and this makes me happy. So what have we got? We got free cost, 4,000 power, counter plus 1,000, and we got a trigger, draw 2, trash 1. That is a really good trigger. You draw before you trash, which is a big deal, because it means you got maximum information when you're doing the trashing, which is good. And you're seeing 2 extra cards. Sure, you're only ending up 1 card up, but you're seeing 2 extra cards here, and that is wonderful. And then we got Don X1 on your turn, once per turn. When your opponent loses a life, draw 2, trash 1. Now, this is kind of amazing, because now, you attack with Jewelry Bonney. And let's be clear, it doesn't have to be an attack with Jewelry Bonney. Any attack with any of your characters that takes a life, as long as you haven't already done the skill, while Jewelry Bonney has a Don attached, will activate this skill, and that's really, 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 really important. So basically here, you've got a thing whereby your opponent has to try harder than normal to take a life. We've all seen those situations early game where you're like, oh, I'll let my opponent have this one, it's fine, I'll let them have a life, it's not the end of the world. But now, not only are you letting your opponent get closer to winning the game, but they're drawing 2 and trashing 1 at the same time. That makes a significant difference. This is one that I have absolutely got my eye on here. I think this could be a very, very nice card. I mean, it fits nicely into yellow because you've got the good trigger skill, because it's just generally a good card. But obviously, we did have all of the Egghead Island stuff in OP-07. And we had the Egghead Leader, which says that once during your turn, activate main, pay 1, you can either play a 5 cost or lower Egghead card from your hand, or add it to the top of your life. So this would absolutely work with the Egghead Leader here. Either play it out, it's a good card as I've just mentioned, nice one to have in play, or put it on the top of your life, ready to use the skill, the trigger when it comes out. I mean, either way, this seems like a pretty good thing, and it seems to fit very, very nicely into Egghead decks. So yay! But that's not the only super rare that we've actually got here. We've also got SSnake. Now, this was revealed in a magazine, so we don't have quite as clear an image. I apologise. But we've still got SSnake, and this is awesome. By the way, there is a chance this will be revealed on Twitter, for instance, before this video goes live, in which case I will try and make sure that I can pop this image in, because it seems like the kind of thing we should be doing. So what have we got from SSnake here? Well, we got one of the other snakes, obviously. 5 cost, 6,000 power, yellow, and we've got another trigger. Activate this card's on-play effect. So you don't get to play the card, you don't get the card in play, which is a 6k, it's a decent attacker, that's quite annoying, but you do get the on-play skill activated when this comes out as a trigger. Brilliant. So, what is the on-play skill? Up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less, other than Monkey to Luffy, cannot attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. Yeah, this is really good. I like this. And again, it's one of these cards that makes me super duper happy. I should say I've done the translations myself here, but I have checked with a lovely Orange Samurai D, who's checked with people like on the Discord, etc. And what's kind of important here is, for me at least, this fits with the manga beautifully. I've said many times, I love it when cards have effects like this that fit the manga. If you haven't read the manga, watch the anime, this might seem a bit weird and not make a huge amount of sense, but if you have, this will make a lot more sense, and that is absolutely lovely. Big fan, love this card, go team. But actually, this is a really good skill. Now, if this was a vanilla card, it would be 5 cost, 7,000 power, counter plus 1,000. If it was just an ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill vanilla card, that's what it would look like. Here, we're losing 1,000 power from a vanilla card, but we're getting this skill, which crucially works as a trigger, and when you play normally, that stops one of your opponent's characters attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. Yes! This is awesome. You've got decent power here, which is absolutely lovely, and you're turning off your opponent's characters attacking, but also the fact that it's coming out as a trigger means it doesn't necessarily need to cost you anything. This is really big. And many of you are going to look at this card and go, hang on a second, this looks suspiciously like Capone Captain Beige. Yeah, it does. And it should, frankly, because that's got a very similar trigger ability. That does a very similar thing coming out as a trigger. And to be clear, it's a worse version of Capone. Let's be clear here, it's a worse version. Because it's only 6 cost or less, it's only characters not leader, and it doesn't include Luffy. Whereas Capone can go for more than the 6 cost, it can go for a Luffy, and it can go for a leader. So yes, in terms of stopping your opponent attacking, Capone is better. No argument there whatsoever. But now you've got potentially 8 of this in your deck, if you play 4 Capone and 4 Snake. And we've all seen games be decided because somebody hit Capone off their trigger, and now we are rolling. Plus, this is a way better attacker, but it doesn't have counter plus 2k, so I'm going to leave that one up to you guys. But in a world where Capone has been phenomenal, this is amazing. It's not as good for stopping attacking as Capone, it is a bit more limited, but let's be clear, most characters are 6 cost or below and not called Monkey D. Luffy. So you are going to still hit the majority of characters here, but the fact that you can also have this to swing with, obviously it doesn't play off a trigger, but you've got the skill off a trigger, or you play it, you've got a decent body on the board, and you've got that skill. This is a very, very good card. But if we want something nice and specific to help out, how about Dr. Hilock here? We've got 3 cost, 0 power, counter plus 2,000. So straight off the bat, you've got counter 2k, that's a good thing. But we've got a really specific skill here. Activate main, rest this character, and what it does is that if your leader is Tony Chopper, all of your Tony Chopper characters gain an extra 2,000 power for the rest of the turn. Now, there's several things that need to be pointed out with a specific wording here. Yes, it is definitely only characters. This will not boost your Tony Chopper leader. The skill only works if Tony Chopper is your leader, but this will not boost up your Tony Chopper leader. Also, it's worth pointing out that because your Chopper leader is red and green, this is only going to boost your red-green Chopper cards. It won't boost any other colours. Now, this is the part where some of you go, well, hang on a second, what's he? I've gone to onepiece-cardgame.dev and I've had a look, and every Tony Chopper so far has been red or green. Yes. Yes, it has. But there's no guarantee that will be the case in the future. And actually, we just had Starter Deck 14, which has a black Tony Chopper. So there we go. It's literally already happened. And this is a very restrictive card, don't get me wrong. The fact that Tony Chopper's got to be your leader, the fact that it only boosts characters, not leader, I get it. But it's got counter plus 2,000, which is a huge bonus. And you could potentially be boosting a bunch of your characters here. Like, we've got some good Chopper cards. Obviously, we've got the one from EB-01 that's just coming out that's got blocker and lowers power. Although, remember, the other restrictive thing is this only gives extra power on your turn. And obviously, for blocking, you would need it on your opponent's turn. But I've double-checked, and it does very much say this turn. Power plus 2,000, so it won't boost them on your opponent's turn for blocking. But then we've got the new Tony Chopper from OP-08, which lets you play a 4,000 power or less animal when you play it. Then you've got the one from OP-04 that is a 4,000 power or less that lets you play a 3,000 power or less animal. And you can actually play one Tony Chopper to get 3 into play. And yeah, fine, they can't attack the turn to play. We all know this. But then next turn, you play Dr. Hilock and all of a sudden, that 4K is a 6K. The new 5K is a 7K. The 3K is a 5K. And all of a sudden, you have got much, much, much better attackers. Okay, fine, there isn't actually a 3K Tony Chopper yet. But you get the point I'm making here. This is a very good card if you're willing to go hard on Tony Chopper. If you're willing to put the time and effort in to get all your chopper out, this is great. Otherwise, it's not. And it really is as simple as that. We've got ways to play multiple chopper in one go, and then we can boost them all up at once with a free cost. That is brilliant. But unless you're doing that, it's not going to be good enough. And then finally, we got a new event card to have a little bit of a look at. Thank you for loving me. And this is a 1 cost. As a trigger, you draw a card. And then as a main, if your leader is Whitebeard Pirates, look at the top 3 cards, find a Whitebeard Pirate or Monkey D. Luffy, and put them in your hand. The rest go to the top of the mini deck in any order. Again, Ace is Luffy's brother, and, you know, it's quite an emotional scene, shall we say, in the manga/anime. So the fact that it can get a Luffy as well as a Whitebeard Pirate does all make perfect sense. And obviously, in OP-08, we're talking about Marco as Whitebeard Pirate, which is red and blue. Well, we've already got the Whitebeard Pirates 1 cost event card, which will search Whitebeard Pirates, or search it as a trigger. Now we got the 1 cost blue event card, which will search Whitebeard Pirates. And of course, the whole time, we've also had our Izzo, which will go and search Whitebeard Pirates. And all of a sudden, we've got real consistency. I mean, we had pretty good consistency of Whitebeard Pirates anyway. But now we've got even better consistency. I told you Marco was looking nuts in OP-08. I stand by that. Having a second event card, which is 1 cost and now can go and search out your Whitebeard Pirates, is awesome. And obviously no colour restriction here. So your red event card can go and search red or blue. Your blue event card can go and search blue or red. And all of a sudden, you're getting the ones you want. Remember, I told you we have a fairly ridiculous new gate in this set. It's a blue Whitebeard Pirate that, on play, if your leader's type includes Whitebeard Pirates and you have 2 or less life cards remaining, your opponent has to discard 2 cards from their hand to attack with any of their characters. Well, you really need to try and make sure you get that Whitebeard. Ideally, once you ramp up to 10 Don, ideally, you want to be playing Whitebeard, 2, 3, 4 turns in a row. Gee whiz, it sure would be nice if you had multiple ways to search Whitebeard out. Oh, wait, you totally do. This card is awesome. I really like the quartet of cards I'm showing you in this video. I think Thank You for Loving Me is just making Whitebeard Pirates way more consistent, which they're going to need if they want to be abusing Whitebeard. I think Super Rare Bonney is a great card. I think SSnake is a great card. Yellow got better, again. And Dr. Hilock, I mean, look, it's only for Tony Chopper decks, and even then, it's only for Tony Chopper decks that are willing to invest heavily in character Tony Chopper, but there is still a lot of potential there if you're willing to go that route. Right, there we go. That's what you need to know. I've told you, and now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about these cards. Tell me how excited you are. Tell me how hyped you are for OP-08. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.